Welcome to episode 22 of the Tiny Disc Podcast, a show about games and life. I'm Robert Scarpanito, and I'm joined here by Jack Cepeda.
Bong bong, everybody. How you doing?
And Colin Sparling.
How you doing, everybody? So let me ask you guys a quick question. Do you ever find something that just is so crazy interesting to yourself that you just go and jump down some sort of rabbit hole of reading and just going through a whole bunch of crap on the internet?
Absolutely.
On the daily.
Oh yeah. So this was my rabbit hole from last night. So in class last week, in one of my classes, we basically had a discussion about how all of science and research could basically just be bullshit. Like it could all be a lie. Like none of this shit could like actually be true, because there's a huge movement going on right now in basically general like science research, where they're going through and replicating all like a whole bunch of foundational science like studies, and they're finding that like the results that they gotten were just flukes.
Like for what studies?
Yeah. So just like a whole bunch of studies, most notably in like the biomedical field, like cancer research and things like that.
Whoa, that's not where you want to be playing around and shooting blanks in cancer research. What?
So it's like there's this huge movement going on where people are just questioning a whole bunch of research. It's mainly like, you know, younger people that are, you know, like, okay, so like that's great that you got these results, but this study has never been repeated, or like there's no published, you know, redo of this study. So how do you know these results are legit? You're basically just taking these studies as fact. And they basically found it was, I can't remember the crazy, it was like a crazy low percentage of studies done in the cancer research field for like experimental medication and things like that. A very small percentage of those studies actually came, like that they repeated, actually showed the same results as the original studies.
Isn't that like
I'm talking like less than 20%.
Isn't that a major bullet point of, you know, why something is peer reviewed and published? Because it's like repeatable.
Well, here's the thing though, and that's where it gets fishy. When scientific studies get published, it's a very hard thing to do, right? Everyone knows that. But there's a very strong bias when it comes to whether or not a study gets published, if it's a replication of another study, or if within the study it doesn't prove the hypothesis that it's setting out to prove. So more than likely, that study's not going to get published. Therefore, all the scientists going out there and trying to do repeat studies or doing research that doesn't necessarily live up to their hypothesis, that shit doesn't get published, so they're not going to do it.
So you're saying they're fudging the numbers so they can get published and make some of that sweet, sweet science cash.
Oh, the part about fudging the numbers, yeah, that's fact.
Yeah.
I guess it would be like grants, right? That's the science cash you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that too. So the reason why all this was spawned was because of a woman named Amy Cuddy. I don't know if either of you guys, I learned about this in comm research methods. I know both of you guys were majors in comm, obviously. You guys took that class. I don't know if they talked about her at all.
I remember taking that class. I don't remember anything from the class.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But anyway, so Amy Cuddy was this woman that gave like this really inspirational TED Talk back in like 2010, and she's a social psychologist, I believe. And so she gave this really inspirational TED Talk about power poses. And so she performed this study where these people basically performed power poses, as in their body language was really open and really like strong and like stout looking, right? They held these positions for about 2 minutes each for each position. And according to her research, there was notable changes in their overall confidence and changes in their brain chemistry.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. And that's all well and good. And she did like this inspirational TED Talk. It was actually an amazing talk from 2010, and like talking about this research and basically how it changed her life, and how, you know, so many people, you know, basically got job interviews because of her research, like are just in a generally better position in their lives because of this research that she did. Well, a few years later, there was what's called the Rain Hill study, where these guys tried to replicate this study, and their results were completely different. They weren't like the same at all. And this study continued to be replicated several times, and nobody was getting the same results.
Huh. Were they random results, or were they all consistently just something else?
Well, no further replication of the study could prove that it actually changed brain chemistry. That was the huge dispute. So there was a huge movement, which, well, out of this whole situation, there became a movement, which was the study replication movement, or whatever it's called. And it was actually started by a friend of Cuddy's from college, named, I believe it was like, let me look. His name was Simmons, Joseph P. Simmons. And along with two other colleagues, they basically did this study called False Positive Psychology, Undisclosed Flexibility in Data Collection Analysis Allows Presenting Anything as Significant. Huh. So, yeah. So basically they proved how you could easily skew any research study, any bit of data, to basically get the result that you want. And they phrased this as p-hacking, as in, the p-value in your research, probability value. And so basically it's because of this one study, it's becoming the new standard to actually include p-curves and stuff in studies. And ever since and because of this one paper, this replication movement started, where they're going back through all of this foundational research and redoing all of it, essentially.
Jeez.
And publishing companies for scientific journals are actually allowing way more publication, or replication of studies, to be published to encourage replication, because we found so many flukes in all this research, including the biomedical field, where they're getting 15% of these studies are actually having the same data replicated. That's an insanely low number when a lot of these people rely on this medication or treatment.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really be suggesting, though, that everyone's just trying to get published, and so they're putting out bullshit out there intentionally, right? I mean,
no, I mean, obviously that's not that. I mean, I'm sure there's people like that out there, but what these guys are setting out to prove is why couldn't it be bullshit? You know what I mean?
See, this isn't going to make me seem like a great college student, but I took statistics and don't remember much from that class either. But the impression I got from it is that it's kind of an ironclad science, the only way to fudge up the statistics part of it is if you fudge up the data you're putting into the statistics machine.
Right, which they talked about, it had to do with who they chose for their samples and stuff, and they were basically accusing people of handpicking samples and stuff like that. So I don't know, and and you guys can read about there's a crazy amount of details in this this article from the New York Times, which I was talking about. It's called "When the Revolution Came," from Amy Cuddy, and it's basically the aftermath of what all this stuff has caused for her, because her reputation is shot. No one wants to work with her. Even the person that collaborated with her on the original the paper about power posing, what was her name? Carney, I believe, or something like that. She actually walked back all of the claims that they made in the paper without even talking with her about it first. She's like, oh yeah, power posing is it's bullshit. Wow. It's basically what she said. And Cuddy saw this later on, and she's like, what? And she put out a full response to it and everything. Dude, it's crazy.
I mean, I haven't done the research or anything, but it makes sense to me, the power posing kind of hypothesis. It makes sense. If you stand up straight, if you have a good posture, you'll feel better.
Right.
It just kind of makes sense to me. Just, on its face, saying it to me as a layman, yeah, if you carry yourself well, you'll probably have, you'll probably have healthy thoughts. If you slouch and if you slump over and are just kind of sloppy with it, then you won't feel anything, or you'll feel kind of down, That makes sense to me.
You're probably one of the people that they'd hand select to be part of that experiment. That'd be my guess.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, me personally, I'm a big perpetrator of what's the phrase I always say? Look good, feel good, do good. So
right.
Yeah, you always say that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I say it all the time, I guess. But I mean, it's a mental thing, right? You tell yourself that it's one of those things where you keep telling yourself something, you start to believe it. And, of course, it's not the sole reason why you get a job out of a job interview or something like that, right? But it's a habit that puts you in a good mindset. And I mean, I understand the thinking behind it, but trying to prove it scientifically like this, I don't know if there's any actual something behind it anyway.
I haven't done the research or anything like that. You know, I'm not, heavy into this kind of thing, but I think that, belief, just the thought, placebo, just the thought that something's happening is a more powerful force to our bodies than we think. I think our brain can control a lot more about our bodies than we even realize. I mean, we're not voluntarily trying to breathe. We're not voluntarily trying to beat our heart, and regulate our blood sugar.
Now we're all voluntarily breathing because you brought it up.
When you think about it, you're like, oh no, inhale, exhale, right? But like you have the what is it? The sympathetic and I can't remember the nervous system, and I know it's not unsympathetic nervous system, but anyways, there's like two different like channels of where your brain's telling you to do stuff. It's like the conscious thought and then the unconscious functions, right?
Hey man, I mean, you say a word too many times, it starts to sound weird, right? So
I'm not. Obviously, you can tell I'm not a fucking scientist the way I'm talking right now. But no, I mean, if you tell someone, hey, take this pill, it will make you better, which is what every doctor says when you go and get a prescription, you believe it, and then when you start feeling better, you're like, oh, it was because I did what the doctor told me to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of thing with like power posing. Like maybe it's that the people that feel good internally and have those emotions, like the strong confidence in themselves, maybe they're just the ones that naturally would have better posture. You have to kind of control for that, possibility, that variable.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
and I was just gonna say, like, speaking on that point too, is like, when our professor originally gave us this lecture, he's like, oh, well, so it turns out like this power posing thing, there's no way of like actually proving that any of this is true. And in fact, it might be all bull. Like she could just be full of shit. But he's like, but at the same time, who am I to come in here and, tell somebody that, power posing is bullshit when, they might have like struck a power pose and thought, because of that, it helped boost their confidence enough to get them a job or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, if that's their habit, then who is he to take that away from them?
Yeah, I think you guys ever... Go ahead. I was just going to say, I think that's the tough part, right, about social science, is that everyone is literally everyone is different. There are 7 billion people, and every one of them thinks differently. It's hard to paint in broad strokes about how humans think.
Yeah, and I mean, my argument to that was like, all three of us, at least to some degree, are like, social scientists or whatever. To a degree.
In the same degree that I'm a rocket scientist.
I mean, we all did the same major. We all learned the same stuff. But the idea of this major, the idea of why I like learning what I'm learning in school right now, is because I like the idea of being skeptical and, learning why it is that we do certain things or, stuff like that. And so I don't see a problem in it. Like if something's bullshit, tell me. Like I'm skeptical. Right. I want to know why the world is the way it is, why people do the things they do.
Yeah. And I guess what we're learning now is that everything we thought was true and thought was rock solid science now is just complete bullshit P curve. Like,
wait,
like FML, right?
Does that mean not every action has an equal and opposite reaction anymore?
Yeah. Does E not equal MC squared? What is happening? What is actually happening?
We lied. Actually, correlation does equal causation.
Did the apple really fall on Newton's head? Was that real?
Oh man!
God.
Let me. Okay, I want to dovetail off to just real quick and just wrap this up. I want to ask you guys: like, have you ever heard like when you have a really strong like life goal, some kind of milestone you're trying to attain? What do they tell you to do? They tell you to write it down.
Yeah.
Or like write down the process, and you're kind of like committing it to paper, and like, okay, you've kind of taken a step towards getting closer to this goal just by committing it to paper, right? Well, have they ever said to you that, okay, well, the next step to do that, if you even have the guts to do it, is to speak it out loud? Have you guys ever heard that? Like, if you want to do something, like, you should say it out loud that you're going to do it. Say it out loud
and tell people too. Yeah.
And tell people, to keep because that's like, oh shit, I'm all in now.
Right.
You know, that's even like the next step over writing it down. So I'm just saying, you know, like about that kind of psychosomatic suggestion, power suggestion, placebo effect type thing, like that all kind of rolls together in the same weird, you know, ball of like, oh, I guess this is my reality now because I said it out loud.
Yep.
You know?
Right. Yeah. That's the thing, right? You know, you say it, you write it down, and you just start to believe it. It's like, you know, you sit there and tell yourself stuff and you write it down. Like the more you see it, the more you start to believe it. I mean, when you perform an action, you keep performing an action, it becomes a habit.
Just remember to live your bliss, live your truth.
All right, Mr. Hallmark.
Yeah,
Wow.
But yeah, just to put a bow on it, as Jack would say, it's just crazy to think that the entire science world is just being flipped on its head. Like everyone's like, you know that scene in SpongeBob where everyone's like running around and everything's on fire instead of SpongeBob's head, and he's like, "What's his name? What's his name? What's his name?" Can't remember. Yeah. All I know is fine dining and breathing.
What was the name of that article one more time? And when did it come out?
The name of the article is When the Revolution Came for Amy Cuddy on New York Times. Came out actually October 18th is when it came out.
Okay.
But yeah, it's basically just details the whole deal with her, and it goes it covers all of it, all of the information. So
there's got to be some truth to that speaking out loud kind of thing, because there are some things that I will not say out loud. Like there's some like life goals I'm like, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not ready. I'm not gonna say it.
Fair enough.
So right. You know, it's so funny because I see, you know, I follow a bunch of guys from like IGN and places like that on Twitter, and they post like, oh, IGN has a job opening and blah, blah. I was like, dude, I totally want to apply to that right now, but I do not feel, I'm not ready. I don't think I have the resume to even think about being accepted to, you know, some place like that.
Yeah. You're not ready to be broke ass poor in the
right in San Francisco where you can't, you know, you can't afford to fucking live there worth of shit. Yeah.
But hey, at least you get to play video games for a living, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Dude, I think I saw on Craigslist in San Francisco, this guy was renting out literally his closet, but you had to live in there with his clothes and shit.
What?
And it was like $1,000 a month.
What?
Yes.
Please tell me that was satire.
No, I'm pretty sure it was real, dude.
Gosh.
It didn't come across satire at all.
Yikes.
It sounds like something on The Onion.
He probably works for IGN, so.
Well, with that, do you guys want to talk about video games?
Yes. Let's talk about your video games.
The video games, yeah.
Sweet video games. So last Friday was a thing, huh, guys? Like,
yeah,
it was the day of games.
Let me tell you, like that last Friday was just I don't even know, Nerdgasm Day.
Yeah,
I guess, or something.
Insane.
Like it's just three games. New iPhone, new Stranger Things. I thought the new Thor was coming out.
There was a new iPhone.
Yeah, new iPhone 8 and iPhone X came out on Friday.
I didn't even notice.
Wait, now hold on. The X came out, or did just pre-orders come out?
Wait, or maybe it could have been just the 8, but I'm not entirely sure. I know the new iPhone came out.
Yeah, the iPhone X is coming later. I think.
It is?
Yeah,
okay, I thought they were simultaneous release. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about, you're really going to have people crash their car now saying stuff like iPhone X is available.
No, take out a second mortgage just to afford a fucking iPhone.
Yikes.
No thanks.
But
there was a lot coming out. I mean, you have Assassin's Creed Origins, Wolfenstein 2, friggin' Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
So it was a huge day.
None of us played Assassin's Creed Origins, for better or worse, but among the three of us, we did all play Wolfenstein 2 and Super Mario Odyssey. So I'd like to kick things off with a hopefully spoiler-free discussion of Wolfenstein 2. The new Colossus.
These games are 4 days old. Like, we're not going to go like crazy ham on it. Just kind of give real, high level first impressions. Talk about the early game stuff that wouldn't be considered too spoilery.
Yeah,
I'm going to be doing one thing and one thing only: killing asses.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of mostly what you also get to kill the Ku Klux Klan as well.
Spoilers.
It's in trailers. So yeah, Wolfenstein 2. I actually have already beaten it. I had to write a review for it for Game Luster, so shameless plug if you want to check that out. I love Wolfenstein 2, man. It's really, really good.
Better than the first?
I think the story is more gripping than the first. Because with the first, I think the story kind of took me by surprise. Because, I was like, oh, it's Wolfenstein. It's, kill Nazis. It's a game where the line "fuck you, Moon" is literally in it.
Fuck you, Moon.
Fuck you, Moon. But
that was me when I was playing Mario. How about that?
I know.
But yeah, the story took me by surprise in the first game. So now with the second one, I'm like, oh, I'm all about this story, and it delivers so well. It has a lot of beats where, like, yeah, you're a badass and you're going around and you're holding like 2 big guns in your hands and you're shooting Nazis and you're taking bullets like a man. But then the next moment, it's like it has something that's kind of causing you to tear up a little bit, or like, you know, it makes you go like, they're not going to show me. Oh, they're showing me. Oh, fuck, no. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah,
brutal.
yeah.
It's brutal from what I've seen so far. And what are you playing on?
I'm playing it on PC. You can pick it up on PS4, Xbox One, though, if you would like, for $60. Man, I have to say, like, within the first 15 minutes, I had to, like, get up and walk away and just breathe. I had to breathe.
You talking about the intro?
Yeah, in the first 15 minutes,
Dude,
I was like,
yeah.
Whoa.
It was a lot to take in. Without getting too spoilery, you kind of get a real firsthand look at BJ Blazkowicz's kind of upbringing in his childhood, and just what kind of made him the Nazi killing monster that he is today. And man, it goes places, and it goes some real dark places, and I was not prepared.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. Like, straight up from the beginning, like, if you're even slightly squeamish, don't play this game. Probably.
Yeah, graphically violent stuff happens.
Yeah,
very early on.
It's rough. For those of you who played the first game to completion, it picks up literally on the same off the same second that Wolfenstein 1 ended. So if you know how it ends, you know how this game begins, essentially, or at least, yeah.
And I would say also that it's not like crucial either that you play the first Wolfenstein, because they do a pretty decent recap of the game. I think that you would lose some maybe character connection, right? Or you'd lose like, you know, a little bit of the story impact maybe, but I didn't finish the first Wolfenstein game. I played probably like 5-6 hours of it, and then I just had to move on to other games. But I don't feel like I, you know, missed out too bad at all, just hopping into Wolfenstein II New Colossus right away. I think that the developers kind of designed it for anyone to be able to pick up and play.
Yeah, for sure. So you're going to obviously be spending a lot of your time like running around and shooting Nazis, right? First person shooter and all. But I have to say, the gunplay feels really, really nice in this game. Like, the fact that you can dual wield anything, like, it's not just 2 submachine guns in your hand, but you can like have a shotgun in one hand and like a pistol in the other or something like that. You know, you can mix and match however you please.
Ooh, boy.
It makes you feel like a monster in a great way. I mean, think about it. Like, no one man should be able to hold a shotgun in one arm and not, you know, break their arm by repeatedly shooting it. You know what I mean?
Dude, did you not see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in The Rundown?
That's a great movie, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic movie. Yeah, it comes out, I was like, I don't like guns. The motherfucker comes out with 2 pump shotguns, fucking cocking those things in his armpits.
That movie's underrated. I definitely recommend it. It's good.
Little
times.
thunder and some little lightning.
So I have some qualms. I mean,
okay.
were you finished there? Did I cut you off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I have some qualms with the game. I think the shooting and the gunplay is good unless you are looking down your sights. I just don't think I think it covers up too much of the screen, like the entire bottom half almost. And you get this little tiny pee hole to like look through. And I don't know, I haven't seen any guns with any scopes yet. Granted, I'm early in the game, but as long as you're shooting from the hip, okay, like it'll work. The gunplay feels good. One thing I was slightly disappointed in, as someone who's really into game audio, was that I didn't feel like the big oomph or the big kick. I didn't feel like the gun sounds were all that great until I got that laser weapon. I can't remember the name of it, some weird German word.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like the sound had all that bass to it, and something, I don't know, even like Overwatch, I think the guns have their own unique good kind of sound and good kind of bass kind of feel again. So those are 2 gripes I had, but the major gripe I have with the game so far is I'm playing on the experience difficulty. Like, oh, you've played shooters before. I'm like, yeah, I've played a few shooters now and again, so I'll play on the experience mode. The game, I feel like, is way too hard and way too punishing in a way. Like there were areas where I died like over and over and over again, like 10, 15 times sometimes.
Really?
And yes, and the problem is that it does like an old school kind of health system. You don't like hide behind cover a la Master Chief and regen your shields. You actually have to go around and look for health packs and pick them up constantly. And for story reasons in the beginning, your health is like halved and it's like constantly bleeding down and things like that. So you have to constantly monitor your health because it's constantly just lower and lower as you move forward. And so I'm always looking for health packs. And then I'm like, I can't really tell exactly like where I'm getting shot from either. I don't think the game does a great job of letting you know who is shooting you, where they are. And then also like you don't really know you're getting shot. And then all of a sudden you're just dead unless you're constantly looking at your health number in the bottom center of the screen. And so multiple times I died and had no idea who was shooting me or that I was even close to dying and, you know, to take measures to prevent that. So I ended up like F5 in my way through some firefights on that difficulty just because that was the only way I could like, you know, save scum and just get through it.
Right.
Kill a guy, save. Kill a guy, save. Kill a guy, save. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think for just the enjoyment, like, I mean, the gunplay is good, but I'm not playing the game to like be like the most badass single player shooter player in America. Right. I just want to play and experience the story and shoot some Nazis, of course, and some Ku Klux Klan Grand Dragons. So I'm probably like unashamedly going to turn the difficulty like all the way down,
like
and just play it that way.
Super easy mode.
Whatever the hey, I'm here for the story mode is, because that's really to me like the meat of the game
for sure.
You know, and I just feel like I was punishing myself. Like there was 2 or 3 parts in the first 2 hours of the game where I was like, oh, this sucks. Like I just keep dying. I don't know why. I just didn't feel like it was like a fair challenge. I guess it wasn't a fun, fair challenge where I'm like, oh, if only I do this, then I can win. It wasn't really like that for me, from my experience. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I can agree. Yeah, BJ is definitely like hella fragile in this game. Like
squishy.
Yeah, even toward the end, like trust me, toward the end, you get a lot of stuff that like keeps you regenerating health and like keeps your armor up and stuff. And even with all of those buffs at the end game, you still feel really squishy.
Really?
Yeah. So that is a little bit annoying compared to like the first game, right? Because in the first game, even if you're playing on like normal mode, you feel like a tank. You know, you feel like a human tank hybrid. Whereas in this game, you're kind of squishy all the way through, which is a little unfortunate. And I'll agree, like at first, I found the like lack of feedback to be really jarring. Like there really isn't, you know how like in Call of Duty and stuff, when you're like about to die, like your screen is very red, right? The more damage you take, the more red your screen is. In this game, they don't start turning your screen red till you have like 10 health left, and
then you're dead.
That's not much. That's like one bullet shot away from just
So yeah,
gone.
You might as well be fucking dead by the time you see the red.
Yeah, so it's a very short, like you have to be quick on your feet and be like right next to cover essentially to be able to see your screen turn red and then somehow save yourself.
It was frustrating. I have to admit, I don't think it's something that they couldn't patch in.
Yeah,
and I think it could be a fix if enough people voice their concerns about it. Maybe that's not the experience they want people to have. I don't know. I just feel like they're really holding on to their kind of old school roots with the health system the way it is. But I think that they could at least have the edge of the screens like, you know, get redder sooner and maybe have like some direction indicator on your crosshair of like where the shots are coming from. I think would be very helpful.
Yeah, and I mean, implementing difficulty well it's a hard thing to balance, right? And it really reminds me of like people talk. I watched this video about third person like shooter cover mechanics, right? And a big talking point was Uncharted. And the thing in Uncharted is it's a completely different game if you play it on easy as opposed to like the hardest difficulty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a completely different game because the idea is when you're playing on the easier difficulty, I mean, you can run up to guys and smack them in the face, and it's more like, you know, you're enjoying yourself and you can, you know, get in fist fights and just like shoot guys in the face and do whatever, you know what I mean? You can move around the battlefield a little bit more freely and feel a little bit more like, you know, Indiana Jones or whatever that game's going for, as opposed to the harder difficulties where you're sitting there relying on the cover mechanics to hope to God you don't get shot like once or twice wherever it takes to die in those harder difficulties. So all you're doing is sitting there like, oh, I guess I'm just going to turn it into a shooting gallery and just like jump up behind cover every once in a while to kill, like pick off guys one by one. Like that doesn't sound near as fun as like going around just beating the shit out of guys, you know.
Yeah. Are you talking about Uncharted 4 specifically, or just any Uncharted game?
All of them are kind of like that. I don't know if I think it was a little less prominent in Uncharted 4 if I'm not mistaken, but the first 3 were really bad with that.
Maybe it was just because it was the 4th one of those games, but when I finally got to Uncharted 4, I got like, I don't know, maybe 30% to 50% through the game, and I was like, you know what? I'm good on all of this combat. I'm just kind of done with it, and I don't want to futz with it anymore. And so I turned on, obviously, easy mode, and I turned on I went as far as to just do the easy, like, auto aim, where you just hit the left trigger and it just, like, auto aims, and it was just, like, much easier to get through those encounters and just get back to the story again. That game kind of reminds me of Wolfenstein, where I'm like, I'm not really there for the combat. The combat is not as compelling, you know, as I think maybe they had hoped it would be. And now the enemy design is awesome, and the weapons are awesome. What is that laser thing? I can't remember.
Lasercraft Verken or something. I'm not German.
When you like
the Wonder Waffle.
Yeah, the Wonder Waffle. Yeah, when you disintegrate walls with that laser, the particle effects are so pretty. And when you like disintegrate human beings to it too, just the way it all disintegrates, I was like, oh.
Can I say the hatchet is so cool? The hatchet is so cool. It like, instead of a knife like in the first game, they give you a hatchet, which is obviously your melee weapon. You can also throw hatchets to like silently kill enemies, because apparently hitting some guy in the foot with a hatchet is an instant death.
I love when first person shooters have those like really creative melee weapons. Like for this game, it's the hatchet. For Battlefield 1, it was the shovel. For Half-Life 2, it was the crowbar. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? We need more shit like that. I love that.
And one of my favorite things too with the hatchet is when you get close to enemies, like when you're sneaking around, right? When you get close to them, you can like silently kill them. And the animations for all of those kills are so good. Like,
they are.
There's one where you've approached someone from behind and you're crouched. Your first thing is just sweep the leg with a hatchet.
Sweep the leg, Johnny.
Literally, you're cutting their shins off.
Oh.
And then as they fall forward, you smack their back with the hatchet, like in the middle of the back, to pull them closer to you, to then hatchet the back of their head.
Yeah, they spent some time thinking about that. There was a hatchet. Go ahead.
Sounds like a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. I mean, there was a hatchet and there was a tomahawk in Assassin's Creed 3, but even like a game all about assassinations, they didn't handle a hatchet as well as Wolfenstein 2 does.
The blood and the gore in Assassin's Creed in general just isn't visceral at all. I mean, it's not really existent. I mean, it's like, oh, I hit this guy in the neck, you know, right in the jugular with my knife, but there's like a little bit of blood that came out. That's it.
Yeah.
More blood for Colin.
Not to sound too, you know, sadistic, I guess.
This game is not short on gore. It gets heavy, and I'm really early in the story, but what I hear all the reports saying is that this story is very compelling. There's some really interesting commentaries making not only on the alternate universe of the Nazis winning World War II, but also just on like kind of the present, you know, climate in America right now. And so that's all I really know. So I honestly can't even spoil it if I wanted to, but I look forward to like experiencing what or, you know, everyone's talking about.
Like, I want to put a pin in this Wolfenstein conversation with, I'm not going to spoil anything for sure. I want Jack to experience this game as it is. If you're playing the game right now, I want you to experience it how I did. But I will leave you with this. On like Sunday, Jeff Gerstmann from Giant Bomb tweeted out, so I think I got to the part in Wolfenstein that people are talking about, and holy fucking shit, this game. And here's the thing, all of the responses are like, which part? There are so many that parts.
Oh, wow.
That's how good this game is. Because when I read that, I was like, which part is he talking about, this or talking about that? Like, there's so much that's really memorable in this game that's really that made my jaw drop. Like, if you think it's visceral now in like 2 hours of play, you don't even know.
Dude, the beginning was so graphic though. Oh man. I'm looking forward to it. I think that this game with the storyline, I think it might warrant maybe a spoiler cast eventually down the road.
I'd love to talk spoilers on this. I don't know anyone else who's beaten the game yet, so I haven't had the chance to like talk to anyone about the meat of it.
That's what Reddit's for, my friend.
I know. Let's move on though to the other big game that came out on Friday.
Some might say the biggest game of the year.
Super Mario Odyssey. Man, that's some big praise.
Mario, is that you? No, I don't know if I would say that yet. I'm still early in. Man, Friday was a bastard of a day. There's just so many games coming out. You know, just these 2 alone took up the majority of my day. So I am now into like the 4th or 5th world in the game, and I spent most of my time in Toast Arena. But again, this is, you know, everyone knows this is Super Mario Odyssey on the Nintendo Switch, came out last Friday, $60. It's getting crazy rave reviews on Metacritic, on all the outlets. So a lot of perfect scores. But yeah, it's incredible. Colin, I don't know, what are your thoughts on it? This is one game that all 3 of us have actually played some.
Right.
And you beat it, so
yeah, I did. Yeah.
So don't spoil it, but what are your thoughts?
Fellas, let me tell you, my weekend was just one filled with nothing but binging Mario and Stranger Things 2. And I have not a single regret. Yeah, Friday and Sunday, that's all I did. But man, Mario, let me tell you, like, you know, I don't know if it was Robert that said it, but you know, when you have like a mascot where as soon as you see him, as soon as you hear his voice, you just get excited and you're like all giddy. And it's like, I felt like I was, you know, freaking, I don't know, 6 years old again playing Super Mario 64. And I was, you know, it was just, I got so excited. And as soon as the game started, I was like, this feels good. This feels good. But yeah, just going through all the different worlds, that's the best part of this game, I think, is the huge variance in level design. And I won't spoil anything for you guys, but just the way that they cleverly design Mario, I mean, that's just been the hallmark of the series, right? It's just cleverly designed levels, stuff that's fun to do, you know, places that are fun to traverse, you know, a bunch of different secrets, a whole lot of stuff to do. And I mean, even when you beat this game after 10, 15 hours, whatever it took me, I think I'm only like 2/3 through the game. Or like 1/3 through the game. Like, there's so much post-game stuff to do. And like, I think there's some 500 power moons to collect in the entire game. So there's a lot to do, man. And just the game feels good. The change in mechanics with Cappy, like how you just, the big mechanic is like throwing your hat and just possessing things. That's a huge thing. And there's over like, I think 50 different creatures or something you can possess. But it's just, it almost feels like a direct sequel to Super Mario 64. It just, everything about it just it has that same magic. And I never thought I would be able to say that about a Mario game ever again, you know, that it has the same magic as playing, you know, Super Mario 64. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think, man? I think it's fantastic so far.
So I'm about to enter the 11th world. I don't know. Is it spoilers to say the names of these worlds?
Yeah, just don't. Just don't.
Okay. So yeah, I remember I was talking about it with some of my friends last night, and I wasn't like as hype about it as they were. Because you know, I've been spending a majority of my time like going through Wolfenstein. And today I played a lot of Odyssey. I got to the world that is in all the trailers with the music.
I don't know about that world.
I'm trying to remember which one. I can't remember which world that is.
Yeah.
The only never mind. The song that like comes out with every trailer, Jump Up Superstar.
Oh, yeah,
New Donk City. I didn't know that was a level in the game.
Okay. Well, I mean,
New Donk City, you mean?
Well, there you go. Yeah.
I mean, dude, it's in every trailer. I mean, it's hard to spoil that one at this point.
Yeah, that's why
the first world they showed.
Yeah, I think that's why not talking about the world is a little weird. But yeah, so when I got to that and I played through that and I beat that world, and that is what convinced me, like, this is a great game. This is a really, it's really good game. Like before then, it was like, this is really, it's tight. You know, the controls are so tight. Every time I die, I feel like it's my fault. You know what I mean? Like, never am I blaming Mario, right? Sometimes I blame the ice under his feet, but that's about it.
I'll tell you what's not tight about the controls is those different throws. The motion controls are not great, I don't think.
See, like that's my, I was about to say that too. That's my biggest fault with the game is they force you to use motion controls for certain things you do in the game, which is very fucking annoying. I
wish you could assign like those throws to different buttons. Would be great, especially that sideways, the circle throw, where the hat goes all around you.
Yeah. Like it's way too hard to do with just buttons.
And it's a really useful move to use, and you want to use it often to pick up coins, etc. But it's inconsistent too inconsistent for me.
Yeah, I will say this is one of those games. Normally, I play my Switch like pretty much only in handheld form. I never ever plug it into my TV. I don't care enough to do that most of the time.
Oh, it looks so nice though.
Tabletop form or handheld form where the controllers are attached?
Basically any way that I'm using it that's not connected to my TV. So I do both.
Okay.
Like I do handheld, I do tabletop, whatever.
Okay.
Like I'm never seeing it. I'm only ever seeing it on that small 720p screen, basically.
Okay.
Mario is probably the first Switch game that I played a lot of it on the big TV, because, like you guys said, the motion controls, right? Like those are really, really important. And I agree that I'm kind of annoyed that a lot of the specific like advanced hat tricks, I guess, are locked behind. Are locked behind it, right? And even small things like, you know, trying to climb up a pillar. If you shake the controller, you climb faster, right? Or like with different,
you know,
like different things you possess with Cappy, like shaking something makes something go faster, makes something stronger, makes you jump higher, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Why can't I just mash A instead or something? You know what I mean?
It makes you like climb the trees and the poles faster. You have to shake the controller, yeah.
Right, and it doesn't help that like A and B are jump, and then X and Y are Cappy throwing, which is like, come on, you could move those, like, you don't need to double up on those buttons.
No, just
every button is doubled too. Every single button is.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for it. Just give us, you know, map a freaking extra version of the throw button that's, you know, super important, or let us mash A to climb faster. It's just, I don't get it. It's the one downfall about the game. It's the only complaint I have, because trying to do the spin move, especially because I've tried to use it so many times, but you have to like get Mario spinning and then hold the Cappy throwing button in order to actually do the spin move, and it's so annoying.
Here's a pro tip actually I found out. If you're playing it in handheld form, if you just jerk the entire console to the left or right, it does the spin move for you.
Oh yeah, that I know. Because if you want to do motion controls, you just got to do that or whatever. So that's like the same thing. Yeah.
And one thing I do like about handheld mode is if you go into first person camera mode, you can just move the switch to like look around.
Yeah.
And I do
like gyroscope kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
I don't know. I didn't find the motion controls to be that bad. I mean, they're easy enough. They're
responsive, but like, you know, when you're sitting there, you know, on the bus or something like that, and you're playing Mario Odyssey on your Switch, you're not going to sit there and go,
And when it's like, a life or death kind of thing
side.
too. Yeah, if you like don't pull off the specific throw at the specific time and you're going to die, like then it's frustrating when you miss it because of motion controls.
And I will say there is like certain secret levels where like I assume all of you guys have seen like the cloud platforms, right, where you have to hit the white hat and it like pops up a platform, right? Well, there's certain levels that have those, and you know how if you throw your hat and you can't get quite close enough with the hat, or you miss or whatever, and you can shake to like home in or whatever. That's the most annoying thing, because you actually need those for a couple of stages to hit those platforms right on time, because if you don't hit them, you're gonna die. You're gonna fall through and you're gonna die.
Well, they're gonna say then, that's what the homing throw is for, right?
Yeah,
right. But it's like, I don't want to sit there and have to, you know, you have to be on point with a fucking motion like a waggle control. Like that's kind of dumb.
Yeah, and I want to quit pooping on this game real quick, just to kind of tell you guys something that happened to me that has never happened in this house before with a video game ever. It was a first, but so I'm a little bit opposite of you, Robert. I'm only playing it on TV mode on my projector, and I've got the Joy-Cons kind of in each hand, sitting on the couch and playing that way. So my wife is, the way it's set up, we have an open kitchen and it looks out into the living room, so you can like do stuff in the kitchen and see the TV just fine. So she's doing something. I don't know if she's cooking or making a smoothie or something, but I'm playing the level where, can we say like what the first level is?
Just say it.
Okay. Say it.
There's dinosaurs in it.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was in the trailer too. And there's a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and like you obviously know, like you can control the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and you can kind of wreak havoc, and you can kill enemies that are otherwise invincible, and otherwise you kind of go from being the prey to being the predator in that respect. And when she saw me controlling the T-Rex and just like running roughshod through the level, she was like, "Hey." She stopped what she was doing. I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Give me the controller. I want to play that." She's like, "That looks like fun. I want to do that." I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure. Here you go. Let's do it." And she sat there and just wanted to run around and whip her tail around and bite things as a T-Rex.
Tyrannosaurus Rex with a cute little mustache and hat on it.
Yeah, it's so adorable.
It almost looked like a Hitler mustache on the T-Rex, but I digress.
Whoa. Hey, we're done talking about Wolfenstein.
I know, right? Yeah. But no, that was something that never happened before. She's like, "Hey, I want to play that."
Yeah.
Usually she's like, "Oh, I'll watch you," but she's like, "No, I want to play. That looks like fun." And just in the integration with like the 2D pixel stuff too, like, wow,
yeah,
it's so sweet.
It's so nice,
awesome.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of this game on TV mode too. Actually, like this is the first game that's made me do that a lot. And I have to say, when I first saw the Cappy thing, like, you know, the trailers like at E3 and stuff, I was like, oh, that's neat, I guess. I'm not super into it, but after playing it for maybe 10 hours or so, the Cappy thing might be the best part about this game, honestly, because
100%,
yeah, like, because, you know, with other platformers, it's usually like, you know, after a couple levels, then you unlock the double jump, then you unlock the like air dash, and then, you know, you're unlocking different moves. But in this game, you've got all your moves from the beginning. You can do your somersault jump, you can do your, you know, back spring, like, you've got all of your jumps, you've got all of your dashes from the get-go. What you keep gaining and what you keep learning and what keeps the game so fresh, even when you're like 10 worlds in, is the things you can possess. Like, every world is something new. You know, I mean, like, Colin, you beat the game. You can probably confirm, right? Like,
oh, yeah. The things that you can possess only get more and more ridiculous the further you get in the game. Yeah, so, like, and it's just amazing. Like, oh, I can't stop gushing about this game. Like, it's just fun. And the way that they integrate the possession like that and just make it core, like, it changes the mechanics of the game on a consistent basis. And like, I couldn't only imagine how big of a pain in the ass it is to make a game like that, because it just changes so much from a gameplay perspective. But they're like, oh, this level we're gonna be able to possess this thing, and this is how we're gonna have to build this level around this idea that we came up with. It's fucking genius, in my opinion.
Like, there are some boss battles that revolve around, like, you have to be possessing this thing. Like, you can't beat this boss as Mario, but you can beat it as like this thing you possess.
Yeah, it was so fun. I had a boss battle just the other day like that, and I just was smiling ear to ear, like, this is like the most ridiculous boss battle ever, but it was just so much fun.
I think. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead,
I was gonna say one thing that I kind of made me realize, like, okay, Nintendo is really putting their all into this. I know this sounds silly, but like, when I didn't even realize you could hit the minus button and see something, but I hit the minus button just to see what it did, and I saw the map. But it wasn't just like a regular map. It had like this really fun kind of like brochure type feel.
Oh,
like
yeah,
he's taking
the
like
pamphlet.
Like you're like a tourist, which is what this game's kind of going for. And I just like the little sidebars and little information they had about the area. And I was just like, man, Nintendo's all in. Like, this is like a magical feeling. They're really putting their efforts into this. I really feel like it's the best elements of Mario 64, even Mario Sunshine, dare I say. And the Mario Galaxy games. Like, it's kind of all of those kind of thrown in a blender and with some new mechanics, with Cappy, a new character. And again, I remember one of the most fun times I had was when I possessed a stack of Goombas, like 10 tall. Yeah. I was like, I'm really controlling 10 Goombas stacked on top of each other. Okay, this is really cool.
Yeah. Are we just gonna forget to acknowledge the stupid amount of costumes you can get for Mario?
I love them all. Well, not all of them, but I love them.
When are they going to start charging money for those guys?
They better fucking not.
Dude. Ooh. So can I spoil just the one little tiny thing?
What, is it a costume?
Yes.
I don't know, Robert. You're the dad of this podcast.
I don't care. Go ahead.
Okay.
100% can confirm there is a Waluigi costume.
Oh, we knew that already.
Oh, did you? Okay, you already knew.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a cowboy one. I like the one with sombrero. Oh wait, I guess I'm spoiling that too. I like the one with sombrero.
It's like the second world.
I'm hoping. Don't say anything. Indicate, but I'm hoping he has an astronaut outfit at some point. I think that would be cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah. I don't know. I love all the references about the outfits. Like, there's one that is basically Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty, but like,
oh yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to probably be Albert Einstein, but I call it the Rick
lab
costume.
Coat one or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
There's not just Dr. Mario.
No, I was so glad
there actually is a Dr. Mario costume that's separate from that one.
Yeah, okay, sweet.
Thank God.
Yeah.
And there's one, he literally has the straw hat of Luffy from One Piece, and I love that. Like, they're just weirdly referencing these things, and I'm not even sure if they're referencing, but in my head they are.
Directly, but indirectly, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of, to wrap this up a little bit, I am just so excited that Nintendo is kind of back. You know, I think they were definitely hitting the panic button when the Wii U did, basically nothing. But to come out with a new console, to arguably some of the best games to come out this year are Nintendo published and developed. Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and now Mario Odyssey. I mean, it exceeded my expectations. I didn't know. I was hoping for a good Mario game. I think we got a great one. Time will sort of tell, but like, I fully am going to beat this game and just continue to play it. And there's just so much to explore, so much to do. Like, it's one of those games that I'm not just going to critical path it, beat it, and then shelve it. Like, no, I want to spend time in this world. I want to, like, discover the secrets, do, complete some of the challenges, and oh man, it's just so good.
Yeah. Without spoiling anything, the level that you get to go to after you beat the game, probably my favorite part of the whole game. That's all I'll say.
I believe it. Yeah. I remember my friends were telling me, like, honestly, I think the best way to play this game is just to critical path it and, like, get to the end and then go back and get all the moons. And I'm like, that's cool and all, but I'm going to be a tourist to the max whenever I get to any level, any world, and I'm just going to explore everything I want until I'm bored.
I thought I was going to just rush through it as well and just beat it and say I beat it. But actually, when I was in Toast Arena and I got like 17 moons or whatever, I thought that was all of it. And then I opened the brochure and it's like, no, dude, there's like over 50, 60 moons in here.
There are
I'm like,
69.
And I'm like, what? And and I'm like, what? Like, where could they possibly hide this many? And then once I start exploring more and covering them, I'm like, oh, here's some. Oh, this is how you do it. And I just kept going. And so I'm going really slow in the game because these early levels are just so fun.
Well, let me tell you. So I know there's like a lot in every level, but there's even more than you think there is. Jeez. Because after you beat the game, all of the levels actually get more.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say it's just mirror mode now, and you just do the whole game.
No, all of the levels get more power moons to collect, and you'll see how when you beat it. But
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I do want to move on. I do want to move on soon, but I think it would be a travesty if we did not mention the greatest feature this game has: photo mode.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
I love the photo mode in this game.
I took quite a few pictures, I'm not going to lie.
I've never spent this much time. And plenty of games have shipped with good photo modes, but I've never taken the time to frame the perfect shot as I have in Mario as well. There's something special about it. I don't know what it is, but I found a little turtle guy in Toast Arena. He was doing the tracer mini game where you trace the path, right? And he just looks so goofy, and I want to take a selfie with him. So I spent like 5 minutes setting up the perfect selfie with the perfect background and the perfect poses and everything. And I like that picture. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't normally do that.
I don't know. I love the photo mode because Mario's face is so like animated. I mean, it's animated obviously, but it's so animated. Like I've caught him looking high. I've caught him looking like the goofiest he ever has. You know what I mean? It's like there's so much in that one face that there's so many things you want to take a picture of.
I really like his idle animation too, where he just like sits down and takes a breather. Like, I don't know, it's funny.
And he has different idle animations depending on where or what you're standing on too, which just all the more opportunity for some sweet, dank photos.
Oh yeah. The way he dances in New Dog City is awesome.
Oh, right.
I think the game also, my final thought is I think the game, because there's different currencies. There's regular coins, which is kind of what your life is. Like whenever you die, you kind of pull a Sonic and explode coins. And then you lose 10, I think, every time you die. But you can go back to where you died and pick them up again, pick up your souls, get an Estus flask. And no. So, right. But I don't know. I don't know what else I can say about it. I'm going to keep playing it. I'm definitely in love with the game right now.
I can't stop playing, man. It's like attached to my vein or something. I can't put it down. I'm like, stop. I need to stop.
Yeah. Before I bought this game, I was always under the mind of there's no way I'm ever going to fill my SD card on my Switch. Now I'm in the mind of it's going to be full of pictures of Mario.
Yeah.
Give me like 2 months and it'll be full. Like
hopefully
64
the files
gigabytes.
aren't too huge.
64 gigs of Mario face.
just on a quick side note, do you guys remember how they came out with that Mario Odyssey Switch bundle with the red Joy-Cons and stuff?
Yeah.
So I watched an unboxing of that out of curiosity the other day. Turns out it comes with just a download card for the game.
Oh,
I'm fine with that.
It doesn't come with the physical copy of the game. Yeah, but considering that edition costs $380.
I mean, did you guys get the physical disc or cartridge?
Cartridge.
I did, and I would also like to go on record. I did lick this one as well. Tastes the same as the others.
Unreal. You like the way it tastes.
I'm starting to.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna go to their production plant. I'm just gonna get a bag of like spare unused Switch cartridges and just stuff your face with them.
All right,
it's the only way he can feel anything anymore.
All right, so let's stop gushing about how freaking great Friday was. Let's talk about some news that happened this past week or two. Yeah.
Okay, you guys do that. I'm gonna go play Mario some more. I'll catch you guys later.
All right, bye, Colin.
Come back.
Okay. So let's kick off with something that happened, Monday night, or Tuesday or so.
Monday.
So it's Paris Games Week, and Sony decided, hey, we sucked at E3 this year, so let's make it up by trying something on Paris Games Week.
They kind of sucked.
Yeah, they kind of did.
But dude, their marketing on that was like, oh, E3 was only half the story. I'm like, why is this? PSX is in 2 months, guys. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, like it's not like if you get a commercial in the Super Bowl, you don't end your commercial with "this was only half of our product." You know what I mean?
Right.
But nonetheless, they showed up on Paris Games Week. I don't think it was like 1000% satisfying, but it was still like nice to see what they revealed. So they launched a slew of trailers, just a lot of indie games. And also a lot of VR support,
which I was glad to see. I was glad to see there was VR support for sure.
Because it's been a year, since PSVR has been a thing, and it's good to see that they're like, it's not just something that's a toy. It's like they're actually adamant about moving forward with it.
And they sold a lot of units. They sold a lot of units.
Has it been a full year?
I think so.
Dang.
Right.
Okay, it didn't come out this year. Wow, that went fast.
Yeah. So yeah, they had a lot of VR games, including a free DLC for Resident Evil 7, which might be the biggest title, I guess, in that list. In terms of indie, they've confirmed Spelunky 2, which I guess, it's probably the biggest indie that I think they've confirmed. But they also released a lot of new trailers for some known IP that's in the work, like Spider-Man and Detroit Become Human. And then they announced a new game from Sucker Punch that I want to talk about with you guys first. You guys know Sucker Punch, right? Infamous
2, First Light,
Sly Cooper,
the Thievius Raccoonus,
yes. They have a new game in the works called Ghost of Tsushima. Set
I
in
love sushi.
Same. Ghost of Sushi, man. No, so it's set in 1274 Japan on the island of Tsushima, right? When the Mongols are invading it, and you play as a samurai, and I assume you're like fighting the Mongols. There really aren't that many details, but
you say 1217? Is that when it takes place?
74.
1274. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say I don't know if you guys happen to know what period that is in like Japanese history, but
the Meiji period. No, I don't know.
No.
Oh, is it? Oh,
it's
fuck,
most
I don't know.
definitely not.
I know, like I literally, I think I know like the Meiji period and the Edo period because of Samurai Champloo. The Edo period. Anyway,
yeah, no, this is definitely like way early. I think it's before the Edo period as well.
Oh yeah, the Edo period was the end of the samurai. That wouldn't make much sense.
Yeah. So Ghost of Tsushima. They didn't really release many details about it. It was just like a cinematic trailer. It was basically a Mongolian guy lecturing your character, I assume, saying like, I took the time to learn about your culture and your people, and I knew what to do to attack. And what were you doing? Just sharpening your blade? You dumb boy, like trying to be all intimidating and stuff. But according to Sucker Punch, it's going to be an open world samurai game, which sounds kind of neat.
I'm pretty into it because we got the open world cowboy game. You got to have the open world samurai game too. Like,
samurai.
Samurai. I mean, I was kind of disappointed it wasn't an open world ninja game, but hey.
I mean, toward the end of that trailer, he had like a ninja shinobi getup, which was kind of cool. He had like
there was no gameplay shown, so it's still very early. I mean, I don't know if the game was given a date or not. I can't remember in the trailer.
Honestly, I'd assume 2019.
Something to look forward to, but we didn't get a lot other than just the announcement that, hey, this exists.
Right. Yeah, I'm excited for the concept though. I really hope they really do something cool with it. So,
but a trailer that did drop that was literally all gameplay, or at least we want to believe it's gameplay. The new Detroit Become Human trailer.
Man,
did you guys peep that?
That was a thing. It was cool to see. Like, I mean, they've done a lot of trailers for this game where like, hey, this is one path, this is one way the story can go, but you can choose, and depending on your actions, it can actually go this way. So they've done a lot of that, which is what this is again. But that was all kind of big open world, like outdoors in the city, and this one was way more intimate. It was in like a house, and there was like domestic problems in the house, to say the least. No, it was very affecting, I thought. I don't know. Maybe it was just like the sweeping orchestral soundtrack, but I was like, oh, this is real. Like, I was watching it and I was like, I don't even want to make a joke about what's going on right now. It's just a little too serious for that, you know? So it's at the stage. We'll see, you know, because I still think that I like David Cage. I don't love the man. I don't love his games. I like them, okay. But I still don't know that Quantic Dream's real true ambitions and dreams, quote unquote, pun intended, you know, have been realized yet. I think that, you know, their games are largely a little more empty, a little more hollow than I think that I would hope for. So maybe this is another chance for them to kind of, you know, really live up to what they're looking to do with these games. That trailer was good. It definitely, you know, keeps the game on my radar. We'll just have to see, though. I'm gonna remain optimistically skeptical if that's a thing.
Yeah, that's where I'm sitting at. I mean, the trailer did help me be a little more excited about it. Like, I don't know about day one purchase necessarily, but it's kind of up there right now on my radar. I mean, I'm gonna assume if you're listening to this, you've seen the trailer. Like, the moment where the dad stops being angry and is like, I'm sorry, we're all fine now, right? It's fine. And you see like the girl's lifeless body being put on the bed. I was like, ooh, this is going to be a harsh game.
Yeah, well, he's done it before too. It seems like this is the game where if you make a mistake, oh, just kids die. Okay, no biggie, right? And it's like, this is like, there's multiple examples of that. So this is the game where if you fuck up, some kid's going to die somewhere. If you do what's right, then the criminal dies. Like, okay, the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I at this point, after playing both Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, I kind of have an idea of what to expect out of a David Cage game. So even if it's on par with either of those games, I'm going to play it, 'cause I enjoy those types of games for sure. Even, you know, even with all of its cheesy voice acting, I even thought in the trailer, like, I mean, of course, it's dealing with some serious shit, and it's really interesting to see that David Cage is going to places like that, narrative wise. But I mean, it was a little bit of overacting going on in the voice acting, I will say. I feel like some of it.
They're all like that, though. They're all
they are, and I kind of like expected that. So it definitely didn't take it away from anything for me, because I knew what I was gonna get, and I'm definitely gonna play it, like, for sure. So, but I think they're dealing with a lot darker shit, and they did touch upon a lot of the darker stuff, like more personal concepts in Beyond Two Souls, I think.
Yeah.
They dealt with a lot of like depression and like almost like suicide and stuff like that. Suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. But they're not afraid, or David Cage isn't afraid to hit on stuff like that. And it really upset me when I sent you that link to that Eurogamer interview today, Robert. To you guys. And I was like, the dude was like basically attacking David Cage. I was like, oh, what are you doing?
I'm gonna have to read that article. I didn't get a chance to before the show, but
yeah, like basically in summary, the dude was basically asking a lot of very, very pointed questions. He's like, why would you include concepts and ideas like this? You know what I mean? And he's like, and David Cage is like, what do you mean? I'm just like trying to like write whatever feels right to me and what I think can make for an amazing story and what really means a lot to me as a writer and things like that. And the dude's like, well, yeah, but I feel like you're just including it just to throw it in there like it's some cool like story dynamic that you're getting your rocks off to or something. You know, that he was just very like being really
wow. Well, it sounds like he's trying to pick a fight to get like a juicy quote out of David Cage or something like that.
It's exactly what it sounded like, but David Cage didn't give it to him, which was great. So
that's lame. Yeah. That's so lame.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this game will be really interesting. It'll definitely be one of the darker games in the PS4's library. So let's talk about a way happier looking game, Spider-Man. Insomniac's Spider-Man.
Spoderman.
That Insomniac, like, wasn't their last thing like Fuse or some shit? Like that really terrible.
Was that them?
Wasn't it?
I don't remember.
I'm almost sure it was. Yeah, but what has Insomniac done like recently? Like I'm having problems like what are their good games?
Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, didn't they do that Ratchet and Clank?
The remake?
Yeah, the remake. Insomniac, they also did Sunset Overdrive.
Oh, that's the one I couldn't think of. Yeah. So that's what they're working on. Okay. Well, I think based on the traversal in Sunset Overdrive that they should probably be the ones making the Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, dude. Sunset Overdrive was just like before Mario, that was one of the most fun games that I'd played in years. Honestly, like gameplay-wise.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah. Well, one of the only reasons to have an Xbox One.
I borrowed one.
Yeah, exactly.
But the trailer for this Spider-Man is very different from the past trailers, which were all more like, look how fun it is being Spider-Man. You could swing around New York and all that. This one was more like the story, like kind of like a lot of darker hints toward, like there's a criminal underground and like if Fisk is behind bars and who's the one doing this stuff, and a lot of like intrigue, which has me intrigued, honestly.
Yeah,
dude, I am all about this, especially after seeing this. Like, I was already sold because I love playing Spider-Man games. Period. Like, I'd have in mind to buy the mediocre, amazing Spider-Man games, even though because I just like Spider-Man games. I know they're not always great, but like, yeah,
it seems to me that they are going for. Tell me if you agree or disagree. They're trying to make a game that does for Spider-Man what the Arkham City games do for Batman.
Yes,
I can see that. Yeah, for sure.
Totally. And if they are successful on that, that is a very exciting prospect for me. And just also sidebar, can confirm Insomniac did develop the EA published Fuse game. That was a total steaming piece of shit.
Garbage. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that the Spider-Man game is infinitely better than Fuse.
It
and
looks good.
Even the combat of the game looks a lot like Arkham style Batman. There's like a counter system which fits perfectly because Spidey senses, right? Lots of gadgets. I don't know if you guys saw the gameplay from E3, but there are hella gadgets.
Is Spider-Man known for his gadgets?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, it's more comic book type stuff. It's not really so much stuff you see as much in the movies or anything like that.
Yeah. Despite what Tobey Maguire would have you believe, he doesn't have a web running through his blood. It's all gadgets.
It's all gadgets in his blood.
Yeah. Nanomachines, son.
Yeah, it's
how open is this open world?
Who knows?
They haven't shown it yet.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I mean, they've shown like web slinging around New York, and it seems like a fairly big city, but there's only so much a trailer can really show you, right?
Right. Okay.
So
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Sony chose to end E3 with it, and they obviously think highly of it. Mm-hmm. So we will see. I mean, like I said, if it can replicate the Arkham City style games, just in Superman's universe. That sounds really cool.
Spider-Man's universe.
Spider-Man's, I mean, yeah.
Oh god, Superman Arkham game. That just doesn't sound right.
Superman. What about a Superman open world Superman game where his open world is just the fucking world?
Don't you mean Superman 64?
Oh, that gem. One of the worst games ever made. Okay, move on.
Yeah. So the last trailer I wanted to talk about is one that caught me really by surprise. Like for a second when I was starting to watch it, I was like, what game is this? And they reveal at the end it's The Last of Us Part 2, the new trailer for it.
Yeah. It's definitely like going for some of the same themes, I think, that or at least some of the same feels that Wolfenstein's going for. It was super dark, super grim, super concerning, commentary on like the state of humanity. It was gory, man. It was scary. I was scared.
The second that character was
brutal.
Like clip her wings, I was like, wait, do they mean that's what they they're hammering her arm.
Yeah, I was like, and then they just showed that was a little much for me, man.
Yeah,
dude. But the thing is, it was a hell of a tone piece, and like they're going even darker than the first Last of Us. I'm like, I am all about this though. Like they're gonna make it like beyond Walking Dead levels of dark. I'm like, okay, I'm into this.
Yeah,
as long as I can see what's happening, as long as it's not all just like literally dark everywhere like it was in that trailer.
Yeah.
I don't think any of those characters were ever shown before. Like those were all new characters. I didn't recognize any of them.
Was that not Ellie getting hung?
No, it wasn't. Because if you watch the first trailer, it looks nothing like her.
I thought it was Ellie. Well, then they didn't do a good job communicating that because I just thought that's who it was.
The girl who was like the focus of this trailer was ripped. Like she was ripped fuel. Like you could see her triceps and like shit and like, damn, this chick roiding or something.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how that's all going to tie in because I think with The Last of Us Part 2, they're trying to tell more about the world, right? Not just as much the story between Joel and Ellie.
Mm-hmm. Not as much in this game. Is that confirmed yet?
Well, I mean, that first trailer showed at least Ellie, right?
It showed Joel and Ellie. Yeah.
Oh, was Joel shown in that too?
I think it showed like the back of him, didn't it?
I
could be
so.
wrong, but I mean,
Yeah.
you hear his voice regardless. So
Okay, well, I mean, the trailer didn't really. I mean, I'm already sold on the game. It didn't really sell me or unsell me either way. I was just like, oh, this is really brutal. Like, okay, I guess I'm ready. Maybe I'm just getting old, but I'm like starting to have like a lower tolerance for that kind of stuff anymore. It's just when it's just in your face, like gratuitous.
I mean, I think with this game, as much as they market it, which I mean, they should obviously market it. No matter what trailers they show, no matter what gameplay they show, I think they already at least know the people who got to the end of The Last of Us and heard that heard around the world. That's already a core demographic of people who are buying your game instantly. I can't think of anyone who has beaten The Last of Us and was like, that was garbage
And didn't like it, right?
Yeah.
Fair point.
I have a couple friends that are like, this gameplay is fucking garbage, but
Tell them they're garbage.
I didn't think the gameplay was the bad part of Last of Us. I don't know. The game kind of went on a little bit longer than I would liked it to, but I didn't think the gameplay was bad per se.
Yeah, that's another topic for another time, though.
Yes. Yeah, we need to like kind of maybe rapid fire these next movie news things.
So let's hit on GameStop. So they're entering the rental business. They're going to start renting games, and they're doing this weird system where it's like, what is it, $60 a month or something like that, and you can rent out
$60 a month.
It's like what?
$60 for 6 months for half a year.
It. Yes.
And then and go ahead.
Yeah, so you can rent out any pre-owned game specifically, and you can only have one out at a time, but you can like check in and check out whenever. And at the end of that 6 months, you get to keep whatever game that you are renting at the end.
Pretty cool.
So yeah, you're essentially like paying $60 for a game you'll keep in 6 months, plus being able to switch it out for all these other games between now and 6 months later. But it's GameStop.
Interesting. I mean, they are struggling for life, right? These are kind of like the death throes. You know, these are the final years we should assume of GameStop as in its original form. I mean, this to me is kind of a sign of desperation. Like, crap, we have all this inventory. It's not moving. How do we, turn it into a revenue stream?
Yeah.
So they're getting creative with it, and I hand it to them. I think this might be successful, at least in the first 6 months. We'll see how many people re-up with it, but it's also noted you have to be a Power Rewards
member. Yep.
Right.
So,
and that's
another more money.
That's another monthly fee or something like that, right?
Isn't it like 15 a year or something like that?
Yeah, I think that mean the Power-Ups rewards, is it gold or whatever? The paid version, because there's like a free version, there's like a paid version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Look, all I'm hearing is you need a membership on top of a membership to get this membership or something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of meh. I don't know.
It's kind of a lot of hoops to jump through.
So I think it'll be good for kids.
Yeah,
to play a lot of games.
For sure.
I also haven't seen much marketing for it yet.
Yeah, it leaked actually. It leaked last week when I caught wind of it. I can't remember exactly where I saw it first. I think on Twitter or something, and then it got confirmed. And
I mean, they're definitely. I mean, knowing GameStop, they're gonna push it on people because that's what they do. Is they push things, promotions onto people.
It's the circle of life.
But exactly, the circle of life and all that. But I'm curious to see. This isn't really gonna be something that does a lot for them unless they advertise it well. You know what I mean? They're going to have to put out a marketing campaign for it for sure.
All that we know, given all that we know, are you interested? Colin, you first.
No, not particularly, because I mean, when I do shop at GameStop, I usually am just bargain bin shopping or whatever, and I keep my games. So the idea of renting them, getting a free one every 6 months, I don't know. I'd have to see how it pans out, but it doesn't sound particularly appealing to me anyway.
If this were done digitally, I'd do it. Like if I could do it via Steam or something like that, that'd be cool. Man,
that'd be crazy.
But no, I don't even play my PS4. I only play my PS4 whenever big games come out for it. Right.
Okay. Yeah. Two things I don't like about this is, one, it's too much up front. $60. Like, it needs to be a smaller denomination monthly.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me that they ask just for $60 up front. That to me shows that they're hoping that people kind of do what you do at the gym every January, right after New Year's. Like, oh, I'll do it, sign up for it, and then you never use it. That's kind of what they're hoping for. That's the best case scenario, where you give them all the money and you don't take any of the service, or you're just too lazy. to go.
Yeah.
And then the only thing I would use it for is maybe like B tier Switch games that I don't want to buy, but I want to try. But everything I'm buying nowadays is digital across all platforms: Switch, PS4, PC. Obviously, everything's digital for me.
Yeah.
And so I don't buy things unless I know that I'll be able to return it if I don't like it, and get my money back, or B, I just know 100%, like Mario, for instance, that I'm going to love it and I'm just going to download it and keep it forever.
Yeah, I think this is just like a sign that brick and mortar is kind of in its death throes. And while we're talking about death throes, the Kinect is dead.
Rest in peace, Kinect. I bought you. I was dumb. I bought both Kinects, guys.
Why would you do that?
I bought the Kinect when it was brand new on 360. I was so excited. I'm pretty sure it's $150 when it first came out.
Wait, question. Have you ever faced the two Kinects to each other just to see what kind of black hole would start to form in the middle of them?
I didn't have them both at the same time, but man, that would be something for the experiment. But who cares about experiments anymore? It's all just bullshit anyways. Peak curves.
That's true. That's true.
So I am a shamed past owner of a Kinect. I sold them both, got rid of them. The only thing I ever used it for on Xbox One was telling Netflix to pause with my voice and telling it to play. Like when I went and got up and got a root beer or something to sit down, Netflix play or whatever, and then that was it. You know,
and that's $100 feature.
Yeah, was it worth? Well, it probably added more to the cost of the Xbox One when it first came out. But I remember that whole package was $500 together. Like,
yeah,
damn.
They're like, hey, we're gonna come out with the peripheral you don't want, and which makes the entire bundle $100 more than the other, console that's out on the market.
It's gonna change the future. It had inputs for your cable box, dude. That Xbox One is going to be like studied as an artifact like 10, 15 years down the road. Like it's so crazy what they were hoping to do with that.
TV. Xbox is the new water cooler. Sports TV.
They wanted you to like gesture in the air to like turn the channel and change the volume and all that crap. Like it's just, they wanted you to Minority Report TV basically.
Some future ass shit right there.
Yeah. So it's gone now. Do you guys, I like Dance Central. I had fun with that. I had some Dance Central social parties at my house back in the day. I never really used the new Xbox One version though, but I had some good times. I definitely didn't get $150 worth of fun out of it, but it's gone now.
I've never owned a Kinect, but every game I hear of on the Kinect, I'm just like, that sounds like garbage. Have you seen the Star Wars Kinect game, the Dragon Ball Kinect game?
Are you talking about that dance game?
Well,
are you talking about original Kinect, or are you talking about the new one?
There was Star Wars Kinect for the 360, which had a dance mini game inside of it where you could dance with Han Solo.
Han Solo.
No.
It was like a Cisco song.
Yeah, it was really bad. So just, I'm kind of glad the Kinect is finally dead. And I mean, it has its uses, right? In like some scientific medical fields or something. I don't know. I hear that they're still using it.
Yeah, they're using it for extra games and health games and things like that.
Right. So I think they've manufactured enough Kinects where the people who would actually be excited to use it, which is like a dozen, will get theirs, and then everyone else can just live on in peaceful bliss in a Kinectless world.
It
Goodbye.
It speaks volumes, and this is the last thought I have on this, is that the new Xbox One X does not have a Kinect input in the back, just like the Xbox One S didn't have either. But on top of that, they are no longer selling you the adapter to hook it up if you so chose. So they're literally saying, we do not support this in any capacity anymore. We don't even sell the adapter, so you can hook it up. So all the Kinects on shelves right now today are the last ones in existence. And some crazy shithead collector is going to snatch them all up and put them on eBay for like $1,000 each now. That's all that's going to happen.
Did you just call Colin a crazy shithead?
I looked at him, but I wasn't thinking he's a crazy shit.
Sorry, bud.
It's okay. It wouldn't be the first time. It's fine.
You don't have box Kinects in your closet right now, do you? Like ready to go on eBay?
Multiple.
I'm gonna reach back here and just slowly close my closet.
right next to your sealed copies of 2 Human.
Oh my god.
All right, so pretty quick, I wanted to also mention 2 major news topics that happened like around last week, and since last week we did a very different episode, we didn't get to cover them. So I guess first quick little bullet point, NeoGAF is dead. That literal water cooler of the games industry on the internet.
Yeah.
Aside from the occasional news story, that place was it was a hole.
But the thing about it is it served as good like neutral territory for everyone from all disciplines, from all sectors of the industry to kind of intersect. Right. Yeah. It wasn't like affiliated with any website, any news organization, any conglomerate. It was just its own thing. And so people felt free and felt safe to divulge secrets and facts that they wouldn't otherwise. So the fact that it's gone now is crazy. I don't know. Do we want to get into why it's gone?
No, I don't think we need to. But I mean, just to like sing its praises, right? Yeah, it's pretty old news. But to sing its praises, it's like a lot of leaks happen from NeoGAF. Like there are quite a few news stories that wouldn't exist without NeoGAF, you know? Sure. So it's like, sure, it wasn't maybe the best place to like breathe air in, but you can't deny its impact that it's had on the gaming industry for the past, like at least decade.
Yeah, it's, you know, I mean, the community will move on. Obviously that place is just way too toxic now for any real meaningful discourse around video games to happen. I remember though, the memory I have with that is that it took me like 8 months from when I requested to sign on. So we should just say NeoGAF is like a message board.
Yeah, it's a giant forum.
Yeah, giant forum. And so it took to post in anything, you had to have a login and you had to have an account. And I requested one, went through the process, and it took like 8 to 10 months for them to respond to me to let me in. I was like, wow, they must do some serious vetting, or they're just really lazy there. Or both.
Man, I'm so disappointed too because I came up with the coolest username. My username was Gaseous Snake. I was like, I am so clever. But anyway,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The biggest worry that a lot of people are having with NeoGAF shutting down is a lot of the people that are now refugees, quote unquote, are now going to migrate to other message boards and websites. So
hold on real quick. What you said there, it's not really accurate to say it's shutting down. It's just the community's abandoned it.
Oh, well, yeah, it's
not showing. It's still there in the thing, but just no one wants to post there anymore. If you want to look up the story as to why, like, go ahead. That's a whole onto itself. That'll take you hours.
And plus, all the mods are gone, so, you know. But so, like, basically, other places are going to become more toxic because of it, is a lot of people's fears.
Yeah. Another thing that kind of came about last week or so, the Animal Crossing mobile game is happening.
If you guys still are against me and saying that Tom Nook is a criminal, wait till he comes for your ass in this mobile game, because guess what, motherfuckers, you can spend real world money now to buy things in Animal Crossing. The world is over. Human sacrifice, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria, everyone get fucked, bitches.
Or you didn't need to flip the bird at us, even though the audience can't see that. You didn't need to do that. That was rude and I'm hurt.
This is the embodiment of Tom Nook on your wallet, on your retirement.
Here's the thing.
In real life.
Just don't succumb to microtransactions.
Listen, I'm strong enough. I'm fine just harvesting bells and all that. I'm fine with this, but I'm saying there are going to be some real... I know the evil of this game, okay? I just know the evil of it. And I know that there's going to be some people that spend way more money than I think people realize. This is the trump card in Nintendo's deck here. They were waiting for. This is the microtransaction-inator of all microtransaction-inators ever.
Microtransaction-inator. Yeah, and then there's going to be several kids who accidentally buy $10,000 worth of microtransactions on their parents' phones. It's going to be great.
Oh, I cannot wait. I don't know. It looks, as much as I don't like Animal Crossing... Bro. It looks like the perfect game for a mobile phone.
It's a free game. The first hit is always free.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like, just in general, like, kind of the Animal Crossing gameplay style. It looks pretty good just to be on a mobile phone instead of having to be on a full 3DS, in my opinion.
Do you remember the subtitle?
No.
Happy Camp or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah.
You build a camp, and then your house is an RV that looks like a van.
Oh, it's such a perfect... If you're playing the core Animal Crossing games, it's such a perfect companion, I think. Because it has the same mechanics, but it's a completely different world. Oh, I'm scared. I'm really scared of this game.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to play it on iPhone right now, just create a new iTunes account and set your region to Australia, and you can play the game right now, apparently. Couldn't tell you why. Oh. Yeah. Only works for iPhone, not Android users, but that's fine.
Oh, snap.
So let's wrap things up. Let's start heading toward the end. Let's get to our question of the week, guys. So I've got a question. I've got a fun little moral musing I'd like to throw at you guys.
Yay.
Oh god, wait, you say you're gonna make me question my morals? Is that
Yeah,
what you said?
come on. You could be a little less excited, guys. Come on, this has been much.
Yay. All right,
Robert's question of the week.
Question of the week.
So it's a would you rather. Would you rather have Wolverine's healing factor or have the Midas touch at will?
The Midas
touch. Oh, it will. Okay.
At will.
Okay.
What if you were like straight rogue from the X-Men and you just couldn't turn it off? Like anything you touched was just
That's
gold.
why I threw on at will, because I think the Midas touch normally is like a monkey's paw, so it's like always on.
What good is gold bullion in this world though? Like if you could turn shit to gold, could you like turn that into a cheeseburger? It takes some time, wouldn't it?
What?
Wait,
like,
what? I'm so confused.
Like,
are you telling me you're going to turn gold into food?
No, what I'm saying to you is, all right, you can have all the gold you want, basically, is what you're saying, right? So let's say I turn my mouse into gold. Okay, how long is it going to take for me to turn that golden mouse now into like liquid assets, right? So I can buy a cheeseburger. Yes.
Into cheddar.
So to speak.
I mean, there are like gold for cash shops. I'm not telling you to like turn a house into gold and just approach them and be like, hey, you gonna buy this?
I know, but I'm just saying, like, it just seems like a lot of hassle. Like, it's cool. I mean, honestly, hey, check out this gold thing. Okay, well, I want to play computer games, so
that's true. Like, I honestly do not know. Like, if I just dug up some gold or whatever, like, what do I do with it?
Yeah, like
well, how do
someone else is gonna get rich off it, right? Like the fucking government be on your ass after. I mean, let's say you do turn into money, you start depositing into your account. Like they monitor that shit. You know, you can't hide that shit. You'd have to have a literal offshore account to hide all your gold stuff. And then what if like you're dreaming about turning shit into gold, and then you wake up and it's just like, oh fuck, my boxers are gold now. I need to call the fire department. I gave myself a chastity belt.
to reference SpongeBob again, it's gonna be like the future in SpongeBob. Everything's chrome, but like it's gold.
So what do you think, Colin? What would you rather do?
So, man, but I mean, you bring up some really valid points about turning everything to gold, Jack.
Sounds nice on its face. I'm just saying.
I mean, it does. At face value, it does. Now, I mean, if you could turn everything you touch into being worth a lot of money, maybe that's a little bit easier. You know what I mean? You could just sell that thing. You'd be like, yeah, it's clearly worth thousands of dollars because it's, I have Salvador Dali's coffee mug, or like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, but like a normal coffee mug wouldn't sell for as much as a golden coffee mug. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I understand that, but like going back to the whole idea of like, how the hell do I, what do I do with this gold?
It'd be a hassle.
Yeah. And then when it comes to Wolverine's healing, what comes to mind is I think it was Mega 64. They made that video where they're like, the guys are like sitting at the desk at this doctor's. They're like, okay, guys, so you brought in the money, but it looks like you guys only have enough money for either the Wolverine claws or the Wolverine healing.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. And they looked at each other. They talked for a second, like, yep, Wolverine claw. Yep, Wolverine claw. So it shows them afterwards, post surgery. They're both wearing wife beaters and jeans, and they're both covered in blood. and they're like, they both got the claws. They're like, oh god, there's blood everywhere.
Yeah, that's
every time they go back inside, it hurts so much.
That's hilarious.
It just hurts. I can't make it stop. And there's blood everywhere.
That's funny.
And then they die from blood loss. But.
Dark. This is a dark episode of the TV.
Apparently.
No, but yeah, so it's like, but the idea of having Wolverine's healing would be pretty neat. Though I don't do any like anything particularly like dangerous either. It's like I have a dangerous occupation.
Yeah, but you wouldn't like have disease, right? You wouldn't have, you wouldn't.
Yeah, if you like cut yourself, if you cut yourself in the kitchen, it's fine. Like,
is Wolverine absolutely immune to disease too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that I didn't know.
Well, here's the thing too. Like, I just need to remind people that have seen Logan before. Like, he's not immortal though. He lives for like hundreds and hundreds of years, but he does eventually succumb.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because the adamantium was kind of like breaking down or whatever, and it was.
I don't know the backstory behind it. Was it like was it?
Yeah.
Was that what
the
it was?
Adamantium was poisoning his body. Yeah.
Oh.
If he didn't have adamantium, he would have lived a lot longer.
So maybe he. Oh, I didn't realize. So maybe he isn't immune to disease then, or maybe adamantium disease is just that raw.
I mean, I imagine that's more of a poison than like. I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I've never really seen him sick. You know, like I have the cold.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing it's the same idea as like, you have too much iron in your blood. You're gonna get, it's gonna kill you if you have too much. You know what I mean? So I'm guessing it's the same idea.
So what do you decide? What is your choice, Colin?
I mean, I think the having the Midas touch at will is going to have a lot more financial gain. Having Wolverine's healing, I don't necessarily put myself in harm's way a lot. So I don't know. Having Wolverine's healing would be nice. I could do something particularly dangerous or be a lot more risky. Be a lot more of a risky boy. If I had Wolverine's healing and not worry about injuring myself, skydiving without a parachute or something. I don't know.
Claws first.
Yeah. But no, I think definitely the Midas touch thing. To find my way around it, I have to figure out how to sell that gold though. But like, yeah, financial gain sounds good. I don't have to worry about the government though. So you have to do it in small increments over time.
It would cause a lot of problems, a lot of inconvenience. I'd much rather have the ability to just every time I reach into my pocket, there's a crisp 20 there waiting for me. That would be so much more convenient. But
yes, I
think I would. I think I wouldn't want to live that long. Like we've had this talk before. Like I don't want to live as long as Logan has. I mean, he
that's true too.
Fought in the Civil War and all this crap. So
Wolverine's seen some shit, man.
I think I would take the bullion, the gold bullion Midas touch, and just maybe like put my hands like in a safety lock boxes or something when I'm sleeping, just to make sure I don't wake up in that nightmare scenario.
All right, strap me in, honey. I need to go to bed.
Yeah, because you just don't know. I mean, could you turn people into gold? That'd be scary.
Yeah.
I've always wondered with like stuff like that. Like if you're in an occupation that involves your hands, let's take like a professional guitar player, for example, or whatever. Like some dude that's like fucking amazing at guitar. Like what happened? Like do you take out insurance on your hands? Like if that's your sole occupation, do you literally take out insurance on your hands? If you broke a finger or something,
that you're asking this question now because now I have to answer it. So Kim Kardashian and Jennifer Lopez both took out insurance on their butts. Nice. And so did Nicki Minaj, I want to say too, because it was like the way they made their living and shit. So that was a thing. But yeah, like pro athletes and stuff, they take insurance out on their bodies and everything. If that's the way you make money, and if it's not functioning and it affects your income, then you're a professional, then you take insurance out on it for sure. And I hate that that's how we're closing the show, but hey, Kim Kardashian had to make her way in. Did you guys see how she was wearing like one of the Kardashian girls was wearing like a Slayer t-shirt?
Hold on. Do we need to really talk about the Kardashians?
Well, I'm gonna put this where it belongs. So one of the Kardashians wearing a Slayer t-shirt, and then the members of Slayer, caught wind of this. So then during a show, like one of the guitar players for Slayer was wearing a t-shirt that just said "Kill the Kardashians." I was like, fair trade.
Dark. Wow. Okay. With that, we're gonna close this episode.
This has been the Edgelord podcast.
Yeah, this has been the darkest timeline version of the Tiny Disc podcast.
Rachel.
So if you have any questions you want us to read out on air, if you have any comments, concerns, etc., you can email them to us at tinydiscpodcast@gmail.com. You can also go to our website, tinydisc.com. You can see all of our previous podcasts there, and we have links to all of our social medias should you be inclined to follow them. You can hit us up on iTunes, leave us a review if you really enjoyed what you heard. It'd really help us out. And also maybe tell a friend that you think might be interested in our random dark musings. And that, I think, should be it for us this week. Where can we find you guys on the internet?
Colin in Mono on Twitter, aka booboo__55.
At JACCEPEDA, Mr. Cepeda, if you're nasty.
And you can find me at Pinoptimist, PINOPTIMIST. Thank you so much for listening to the Tiny Disc Podcast. We'll see you next Thursday.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. Love you too.
Bye.